A while back, I got a lesson from FLC, one of the scene's most important analysts, and he taught me a way of thinking about my positioning that I have yet to pass on in one of my videos. At the time, I was playing the Kensa splatter shot in Splatoon 2, so a splatter shot with a suction bomb and tentamissiles. It played pretty similarly to the Tentatech splatter shot in Splatoon 3, a sort of support-slayer hybrid, something that painted a lot, but then went in when there was an opportunity, or when it used its special to create an opportunity. When I rolled out on Manta Maria, I was starting from right plat here, and trying to work my way through mid, right along the objective line. But FLC told me that I was playing the wrong weapon if that was what I wanted to do. That kind of play was going to get beaten by a Nautilus or a Bamboozler, which was popular at the time, or a Kensa 52 Gal, which was very similar to the current 52 Gal kit. I was going to get outranged, and in the case of the very popular K-52, literally walled off. So attacking from the front, where everyone was looking, wasn't an advantageous position for my weapon. Even if I can manage to outplay against weapons like those, it's going to take such a long time to engineer a play like that it might not be worth it in the long run to try. Now, where my weapon can play fast and gain ground is from a flank position, or from behind cover. There isn't a lot of cover to work with in mid, but if I'm going to play around the right side, one option I have is flanking the enemy bunker. From here, I have the walls in between me and an enemy player, and while it's something any experienced player is going to be watching out for out of the corner of their eye, it's better to be in the corner of their eye than to be right in front of everyone with nowhere to hide. Ideally, I probably just sit back and farm special before I engage, but once I'm here, this is probably the best option that I have. There were two things that this lesson taught me. One was that I need to evaluate the map more carefully to determine which positions my weapon actually likes. I can talk about the objective line all I want, but if my weapon isn't going to be strong at every point on the objective line, I'm doing myself a disservice trying to park myself right on top of it. It's often better for me to put myself near the objective line, near enough that maybe I can have an impact on it, but to avoid any dead zones that the objective line passes through in favor of positions where my weapon can actually win a fight. Obviously, I can't just always avoid being in bad spots, but the goal is to quickly travel through the bad spots and only linger in the strong positions. I'll mark positions I like in green, and positions I don't like in red. Spots where I don't have cover to work with, don't have range to hit a location where there's likely to be a fight, or don't have an escape route are going to end up red, while places where I can probably shoot at an opponent in a place they're likely to want to go are going to be green. As we can see, mid is kind of a no man's land, a dead zone, because there's not much cover to use to get through it, while you're under the watchful eye of a lot of backliners who like to use the grates to get unobstructed sightlines. Getting from here to here means their whole street needs to be clear. So it probably means you've won a fight already anyway, if you can do that. The second thing I learned from this lesson is that you can use an idea of the map like this to create a game plan for yourself. Instead of just wandering out into mid and seeing what happens, if you know which positions you like and you overlay the objective line on top of it, now you can come up with a plan by just playing a game of connect the dots. Which positions do you want to take as your team moves further and further up? Now, when you take one fight, you know exactly where you want to go next as soon as you win it, and you can even be moving in that direction while you win it, so you get from place to place and take space more efficiently. That speed, that pace, that efficiency that comes from decisiveness is one of the big differences between lower level and higher level competitive players. Teams that aren't doing this sort of thinking aren't going to capitalize on their advantages as fast, because they're not going to know where they want to go or what they want to do as quickly. Let's take the Manta Maria flank as an example. If my plan is just to roll out into mid and see what happens, and then when I get there I decide to go for it, by then someone might be watching and see me coming. If I make it my plan to go for that flank from the beginning and I'm beelining in that direction, there may still be someone in the way, in which case I just need a branch in my decision-making tree for what to do if it's blocked off, but I have the best chance of there not being someone watching it yet, because I'll be giving myself the best chance to get there before they're looking. From there, I'll know exactly what the plan is. I'm doing this to clear this area where backliners like to position, which will let my team move forward a lot more safely. From there, a number of different things could happen, provided I'm successful and don't just get sent back to spawn. My team could completely gain control of mid, or they might need my help. This means that I might want to drop in and take one of these positions and help them clear mid. Or if it's cleared, then I might want to move up and take one of these positions next because they're further along the objective line. But even if there's not one set plan I can create that will work every time, even on the rollout, having these dots to connect in making the plan helps narrow down the available options a ton. It makes it so that any decision I'm faced with is only between one of a few options, not a paralyzing infinity of options like I'm staring at a blank Word document while trying to write a paper. Speeding up the decision-making process means less wasted time and a better ability to capitalize on advantages we gain, as well as a faster response and rotation to defensive positions when things go wrong. Some other complicating factors include weapon comps. If I'm playing against an E-leader, certain angles are going to be more dangerous than if their longest ranged weapon is a Nautilus. If my team has a ballpoint up on grates, I can know I have cover fire that'll keep me safer going through mid than I would be without it. These are factors that you'll have to use to shift your idea of how you want to roll out right at the beginning of the match, something you'll want to communicate to the rest of your team as soon as possible if you're playing in a coordinated environment. The knowledge of what your weapon can do and which positions are strong for it and when is just too in-depth to go into in any Squid School video. Even for just a single weapon with a single map mode, that would be a really, really long video. The map mode of the day guides I used to make for Splatoon 2 were the closest I'll probably ever get to that sort of guide content. People have asked me about weapon matchup charts before, and I don't think even on my mains that I am a sufficient authority on that subject to make them. I'm not playing against people who are going to exploit every possible weakness of my weapon by using every possible strength of theirs. I have some bad habits that get rewarded by going unpunished, and those tactics might not work at top level. But something I can suggest is that you think about map modes like this and try to chart yourself a course through them. Ask specific questions about that positioning to someone who knows your weapon better, and I think you'll get pretty good results by approaching improvement from that angle. When I was very new to competitive play and signed up for a group lesson from Zero, one of the biggest things he was highlighting in that lesson was his rollout plan, where he wanted to position from point A to point B across a map. And now that I've reflected on this kind of game planning, I can see its importance. I'm sure there are plenty of helpful top players out there who'd be happy to give pointers, maybe talk about what their own ideas of this map look like, and what connect the dots routes they like to take that are different from yours. Good luck figuring it out and becoming more of an expert on your own playstyle.